Welcome back to our deep dive. Today, we're really zoning in on a very significant chapter, John chapter 20 in the New Testament.
Absolutely. It's pivotal. It takes us right into the heart of what happens immediately after the resurrection, the empty tomb, those first encounters.
Exactly. And we've got some great sources lined up, theological takes, historical background, even literary analysis to see how John tells this story.
Right, not just the what, but the why behind the presentation and maybe what it means for you listening.
Okay, let's jump in. It all starts, doesn't it, with the empty tomb?
It does. Very early Sunday morning, Mary Magdalene goes to the tomb and she finds the stone rolled away.
And her immediate reaction isn't hope, is it? It's more like panic.
Total panic.
Hmm.
Her first thought is, they've taken the Lord out of the tomb and we don't know where they've put him. It's a very human assumption. Grief, confusion.
So she doesn't hang around. She runs off, finds Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one John often calls the beloved disciple.
And tells them what she saw, or rather didn't see.
And their reaction, they run, both of them, straight to the tomb.
Yeah, there's this sort of race. The other disciple, maybe younger, gets there first.
But he stops.
Yeah.
He looks in, sees the linen wrappings, but he doesn't actually go inside.
Right. Then Peter arrives, puffing, probably, and he just goes straight in. Typical Peter, perhaps.
Maybe. And what does he see?
He sees the linen cloths lying there, and then there's this detail about the face cloth, the sudarium.
Yes, the text specifically mentions it wasn't with the linen cloths, but was folded up or rolled up by itself.
Exactly. And commentators really pick up on this. It doesn't look like a rush job, like grave robbers just tearing things off, it seems.
Yeah.
Orderly, intentional, maybe.
Suggesting something other than theft or disturbance happened.
Precisely. Then the other disciple, the one who arrived first, he goes in too.
The text says, he saw and believed.
Yes, but then John adds this really important clarification.
Right, for as yet they did not understand the scripture, that he must rise from the dead.
So what did he believe then? Maybe he believed Mary's story, or believed something profound had happened, but not the full resurrection picture yet.
It's belief, but it's still developing, still lacking that scriptural context.
Exactly. It shows how even for the closest disciples, this was staggering. Not immediately obvious. Their first reactions are confusion, grief, a sort of dawning awareness maybe, but not full comprehension.
Okay, so Peter and the other disciple then leave, but Mary stays.
She stays, weeping outside the tomb, just overcome with grief.
And as she's weeping, she looks into the tomb again.
And this time, she sees something different. Two angels, in white, sitting where Jesus' body had been.
And they ask her a simple question.
"Woman, why are you weeping?" Echoing what Jesus will ask her moments later.
Her answer is the same as her initial report to Peter and John, right? Still focused on the missing body.
Completely. "They have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." Her whole world is still centered on finding that body, caring for it. You can feel the devotion there.
Then she turns around.
Yeah.
And sees someone standing there.
Jesus. But she doesn't recognize him.
Not at first. She thinks he's the gardener. Maybe the tears, the dim light.
Could be. Or maybe his resurrected appearance was different somehow. He asks her the same question the angels did. "Woman, why are you weeping?" and adds, "Whom are you seeking?"
And Mary, still thinking he's the gardener, pleads with him.
"Yeah, sir, if you carried him away, tell me where you put him and I will get him." Still so determined to find the body.
And then it's the moment of recognition.
It's so simple, but so powerful. Jesus just says her name, Mary.
One word, and everything changes for her.
Instantly. She turns toward him and cries out in Aramaic, Rabboni, which means teacher. The personal address, her specific name, cuts through everything else.
It's incredibly intimate.
It really is. But then Jesus gives her this instruction that sounds a bit, well, unexpected.
Do not cling to me.
Yeah, do not cling to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. It suggests a change. Their old relationship needs to transform now.
It's moving into a new phase because of the resurrection and the coming ascension.
Exactly. And then he gives her a mission. "Go instead to my brothers and tell them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God."
Notice he calls the disciples my brothers. That's significant too.
Very. It underlines this new family relationship established through him. And the message itself, my Father and your Father, speaks volumes about the new relationship believers have with God because of Jesus.
So Mary, who came in despair, becomes the first witness. The apostle to the apostles, some call her.
She's the first one sent with the resurrection message, a remarkable turnaround highlighted in a lot of the analysis we looked at showing the power of individual faith and encounter.
Okay, so Mary goes and tells the disciples. Now the scene shifts to that evening, Sunday evening.
And the disciples are together, but where?
Huddled in a room, doors locked.
Why locked?
John tells us explicitly, for fear of the Jews. They're scared. Their leader was just executed. They could be next.
Into that fear, that locked room, Jesus comes.
Suddenly just stands among them, not breaking down the door, just there.
And his first words.
Peace be with you. Shalom. It's more than just hello. It's a profound gift of peace right into their fear.
Absolutely needed in that moment. And then he offers proof.
He shows them his hands and his side, the wounds, tangible evidence that it's really him, the crucified Jesus, but now alive.
And their reaction.
Overjoyed, the text says. The fear starts to give way to wonder and joy.
Jesus then repeats the blessing. Peace be with you, reinforcing it.
And then comes the commissioning. It's huge.
As the Father has sent me, I am sending you. He's passing on his mission to them. This is the foundation of the apostolic mission.
And to empower them for this mission.
He does something incredibly symbolic. He breathes on them.
Like God breathing life into Adam in Genesis.
Many see that connection. And as he breathes on them, he says, receive the Holy Spirit.
This isn't Pentecost yet, but it's a kind of initial giving of the Spirit and empowering for what's immediately ahead.
That's a common interpretation, yes. An earnest of what's to come, equipping them right then and there.
And with that empowerment comes authority.
If you forgive anyone's sins, their sins are forgiven. If you do not forgive them, they are not forgiven.
A heavy responsibility linked to their mission and the Spirit's presence.
So, in this one appearance, Jesus addresses their fear, confirms his identity, gives them a mission, empowers them with the Spirit, and grants authority. It's a complete package.
It really transforms them from hiding in fear to being sent out with purpose. It lays the groundwork for everything that follows.
But there's one disciple missing from that incredible scene.
Ah, yes. Thomas. Called Didymus the twin, he wasn't there.
So the others, buzzing from the encounter, tell him, we have seen the Lord.
And Thomas, he's not buying it. Not without proof.
His reaction is famous, isn't it? Almost infamous.
Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were and put my hand into his side, I will not believe. He needs hard, physical evidence.
You can understand it. Maybe it's an extraordinary claim. Absolutely. It highlights that tension between faith and sight, belief, and empirical proof. It's a very relatable kind of skepticism, I think.
So what happens next?
The story jumps forward 8 days. A week later.
Back in the room, doors locked again, presumably. And this time
Thomas is with them. And Jesus appears again, same way as before, stands among them.
And his first words.
Again, peace be with you, that constant gift of peace.
But then he turns directly to Thomas.
Yes, he addresses Thomas's specific doubt head on. He doesn't rebuke him, interestingly.
What does he say?
He invites him, put your finger here, see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe. He offers the very proof Thomas demanded.
Does Thomas actually touch the wounds? The text doesn't explicitly say, does it?
It doesn't. Some think the invitation itself was enough. Because Thomas's response isn't about touching, it's a huge declaration of faith.
The climax, really, of the scene.
He just says, my Lord and my God.
Which is, an incredibly high Christological statement in John's Gospel. A full recognition of who Jesus is.
Absolutely. It's arguably the clearest statement of Jesus' divinity by a disciple in the entire Gospel, a complete turnaround from his earlier stance.
And Jesus' response to this confession?
He says, because you have seen me, you have believed.
Almost a gentle question there.
Yeah, and then the crucial part, blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed.
And that feels like it's speaking directly across the centuries, doesn't it? To us. To anyone who wasn't an eyewitness.
Exactly. It extends the blessing of faith beyond that first generation. It validates a faith that comes through hearing the testimony, through the word, rather than seeing physically. It's a huge statement for the ongoing church.
Okay, so after this powerful encounter with Thomas, the chapter seems to draw to a close. Verses 30 and 31 feel like a conclusion.
They really do. Many scholars think this might have been the original ending of the gospel before chapter 21 was added.
The narrator steps in and says, basically, Jesus did a lot of other signs, miracles that aren't written down here.
Right. Acknowledging the selectivity of the account, they chose specific signs for a reason.
And that reason is stated very clearly in verse 31.
But these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God,
A core claim about Jesus' identity.
and that by believing you may have life in his name.
So the purpose is belief, leading to life. It connects everything, the signs, the resurrection appearances we've just discussed,
Right.
directly to the reader's or listener's response.
Precisely. The whole gospel, and especially this chapter culminating in Thomas's confession and Jesus's blessing, is geared towards fostering that life-giving belief in Jesus as the Christ, the Son of God.
So, wrapping up our look at John 20, we see the confusion at the empty tomb, Mary's personal encounter moving her from grief to witness,
Jesus appearing to the terrified disciples, bringing peace, proof, and purpose.
Thomas's journey from needing hard evidence to that incredible confession, "My Lord and my God."
And finally, the gospel writer telling us plainly why all this was written down for belief, for life. It's quite a progression.
It really maps out how belief can dawn, even in the face of something completely world-altering like the resurrection. And that message for those who believe without seeing is just so central.
It underpins Christian faith for everyone who wasn't there on that first Easter or the week after.
So maybe a final thought for you listening.
Eh.
As you reflect on these stories, Mary, the disciples in the locked room, Thomas, which part of this resurrection chapter hits home for you?
And how does that stated purpose, belief in Jesus bringing life in his name, challenge or invite you today? What might life in his name really look like, feel like in your own experience? Something to keep pondering.